Everybody, and welcome to Week 9 Power Rankings. So this week's going to be a little different. I kind of decided to take a step back and not reset the Power Rankings, but I've been going off week-to-week performance, and I'm going to start changing that of more to not strictly just based off week-to-week. I know a lot of times I'll talk about like what they did over the week, so they usually play 2 series, and I kind of go off that, but I'm starting to realize while that method may be good for some teams or in some spots on the board, it's not really good to judge all of the teams. So I think I'm going to try to go for more of like an eyeball test, and where you look at how they're playing, who they're playing, and what their record is on the week. So this week there might be some moves that you weren't expecting, but we'll get to that. But yeah, we'll start the week off number 30, and you can all guess where we're going. Yep, if you said Oakland, you were right. Oakland had a promising start to the week, and that was it. So Oakland maybe would have had a chance maybe to move up to 29, but yeah, they had a good start to the week. And again, overall, they're just clearly the worst team in baseball. Just a horrendous season for them. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the coach. I feel bad for almost anyone but the front office. So, especially for the fans, yeah. Oakland's been horrible. They're still at 30, and again, I think it's a safe bet to say they're never going to get out of 30. All right, number 29 is Kansas City. Again, this team, it's kind of sad because they're kind of like the Tigers, where they're supposed to have a rebuild and have all this young talent. And last year wasn't horrible, and this year is. So they stay at 29. They haven't been playing well. I think now it's safe to say their season's pretty much lost. And I'm not saying losses as they could have made the playoffs. I'm saying losses in this could be like a positive rebuild season, because teams that are rebuilding, expect to win 90 games. You want to shoot for like 75, 80. I don't think they're even going to get to 75. So I think you could write this season off as a loss in terms of a successful rebuild season. No one's playing well. So yeah, they stay at 29, and yeah, if I'm a Royals fan, I'm probably a little upset about this just because the young talent is not there, and you're kind of worried now about what goes on the next couple seasons. All right, number 28 are the Nationals, same spot as last week. So the interesting thing about the Nationals is that they're not playing horrible, and this is kind of fun. So these two teams, Royals and A's, are playing horrible, and usually in the MLB season you have about 4 teams playing horrible. This year, I feel comfortable saying so far we have 2 bad teams, like horrible teams, Royals and A's. The Nationals, while they're 28 on the board, they're not non-competitive anymore. They're playing good games. They're not a team now where I think you're expecting a sweep. I think with the Royals and A's in a 3-game series, you're probably hoping for a sweep. The Nationals, they're playing a little bit rough as of late, but again, all these teams outside of the bottom 2 are a fairly decent teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to 75 wins, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes towards the second half of the season, but the first half, I would say, so far, these are like the 2 really bad teams, and other than that, it's been decent. All right, same spot as last week are the Rockies. The Rockies, for a second, were looking decent, and then they've kind of gone down to, I guess, how you expected them to play. For a second there, they were tied with San Diego. I don't know if that's more of a reflection on San Diego or the Rockies, but everything I just said about the Nationals applies to the Rockies, other than the fact that they're not really in a clear rebuild. But in terms of their performance, this is where the Rockies have been at for like ever now, so we'll see if they can over the next couple of years make something out of this roster. But so far they're not really in a rebuild. They're kind of just a team that they field, and there's no clear direction where they're going. But right now they're at 27. There's not much else to say other than the Rockies are just having a normal Rockies season. Good at home, terrible on the road. All right, same spot are the Reds. So the Reds, they would have moved up if they would have finished this week strong, but that Brewers series was rough, especially since I feel like they could have won most of those games. But the Reds, again, playing a lot better than they were last year, and they have a lot of good rookies right now. They just have a weak bullpen. They can't seem to close games out. But in the starting rotation, it's iffy. It's hot and cold. But the Reds, if I'm a Reds fan, I'm optimistic. I mean, you have Steer. I'm just gonna try to name all of them: Steer, Encarnacion Strand, Eli De La Cruz, Jonathan India, and LeClain. I think he's the one who also came out. Those are 5 I can think of off the top of my head for top prospects, either in the major leagues right now or in AAA. So your future is bright, I would say, as long as your front office doesn't screw it up and trade them because they want to pull an Oakland A's. 3 years, you could be looking at a really nasty team. So the Reds right now, they're at 26, but if I'm a Reds fans, yeah, these seasons are going to be tough to sit through, but I think in a few years, you're going to have a really exciting team to watch. All right, dropping 7 spots, and at 25 are the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, they were battling it. They were fighting their way back, and they just kind of collapsed this week. I think their last 10 games are 3-7. So Cardinals, the record's 25-35. I dropped them down to 25 on the board. They're not playing well. it seems like they can't afford any more bad weeks. I think it is only June, but still, you're now 10 games below 500. The only thing you have going for you, which is the same as the White Sox do, is you're in a weak Central Division. But Cardinals, I don't know how many more bad weeks you can have, because 10 games, if that turns into 15 games below 500, or you're gonna have to have a good month to get back up to close to over 500. So the Cardinals not playing well. They're at 25, and I don't know what else. I don't really know what's going on with them, but they're just not playing up to expectations, and right now they're at 25. Right, moving up one spot are the White Sox. So the White Sox are playing well, which is it's kind of a bummer for them that they started off the season so awful. But they're kind of turning it around. Again, they're in the weak Central Division, so they're kind of like the Cardinals, where they have a good situation of maybe coming back. The record's 26-35, so only 9 games below 500. You win a few series against other Central opponents or the Twins, you're in good shape to maybe take it back. It's a reflection of how weak the Central is and how inconsistent the Twins are playing. It's along with the Brewers for the NL Central. So those are the only two things those teams have going for them. Weak division, and their the leading team in the division is also just super inconsistent. So White Sox, if you keep playing strong, you have a good chance of maybe making up ground. And come August, or maybe even late July, you could be right there for first place if you keep playing well. But yeah, the White Sox are playing well. Move them up one spot, so they're at 24. And like I said, the record's 26-35. So they've made up some ground. All right, dropping 3 spots are the Tigers. So the Tigers had a rough week, but overall, I'm pretty impressed with them. I think week 1, I had them at 29, saying this is going to be like the second worst or worst season in the club history, because they looked awful the first week. But they've really bounced back. I don't know what the record is since the first week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was at or above 500. I know, like for example, the Twins, they played below 500 since the first series of the season, because they swept it, and then since then they've been playing below 500. So I won't be surprised if they're after week 1 they've been playing about 500. But yes, they've been playing decent. This week they kind of stumbled, so now the record is 26-31. Right now I have them at 23, and yeah, they're just playing decent ball. So we'll see if they can hang around this group for a little bit. But this week wasn't a great week, so we'll see where they end up next week. All right, moving up one spot are the Guardians. So the Guardians, same story, great pitching for the most part and bad offense. I don't know how sustainable that's going to be. They salvaged a series against Minnesota, but again, Minnesota played without some their top players. So, but yeah, they salvaged a series. You kind of saved your week and move up one spot. Your record is now 27-32. You're still 5 games below 500, but again, last year it was pretty much the same deal. So right now I have my 22. All right, dropping 5 spots are the Phillies. So the Phillies, yeah, nothing to say other than just disappointment. I had them at ranked 3 at the beginning of the year, and now they're down all the way here at 21. The record's 27-32, so the same as Cleveland. And yeah, they're just not playing well. And just big disappointment so far. After winning the NL pennant, you are playing this poor with almost the same roster pretty much, and you added Trey Turner. So I don't know, just a disappointment for the Phillies, and I'm sure Philadelphia fans aren't happy. So right now I have them at 21, and I don't know where they go from here. They're going to have to bounce back. We'll see if that starts soon, but right now it looks a little rocky for them. We'll see what happens. All right, moving up 4 spots are the Cubs. So the Cubs are actually playing better. They won a series against the Rays, which was nice. Yeah, their pitching's been better. They lost Steele, though, which isn't good. But Stroman's been pitching great. I think he's had 2 now great starts in a row, like terrific lights-out starts. So good for him. The Cubs, again, playing better. And yeah, so I moved them up 4 spots. I'm not buying into them at all yet, because I got burned buying into them so early. I had them up at like 10, or I got them in the 8th spot maybe. I thought to look. Now they're all the way down here because they kind of fell off. So all right, dropping 5 spots are the Mariners. The Mariners did not have a good week, and they need to get it going. They haven't been playing well overall, and they just haven't been winning games they need to win. Just overall disappointing season so far for them. The record's now 29-30. They've been kind of floating around 500, but I think this is like the 4th week now where they've been below 500. So yeah, I'm moving down to 19. They're just not playing well, and I think this is a fair spot for them. So yeah, they're hanging down there. I don't know like what exactly they need, because it seems like they have all the pieces and they're just not performing. This is another example of a team with a good roster and they're just not playing well. So right now they're at 19. And let me know what you think, but I just don't know what's going to happen with them. I probably have similar faith in the Phillies, which is I just don't know anymore what's going to happen, because it's just playing so poorly. But yeah. So right now they're at 19. We'll see where they end up in a couple weeks from now, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're still around by the 20 spot. All right, moving up 3 spots are the Giants. So the Giants actually had a bad week, but I kind of sewered them last week, and overall, I have more faith in them than these 3 teams. So I move them up to 18, and yeah, they're playing decent. So I mean, I know last week or this week I guess wasn't good. So I think you could have an argument where they didn't deserve to be moved up, but last week they should have been moved up. But it was weird Memorial Day, whatever. So the Giants, again, they're playing overall decent, and again they're floating around 500 like the Mariners and whatnot. But the Mariners' expectations are way higher than the Giants. So the fact that the Giants are there more speaks to how poorly the Mariners are playing. So they're at 18 right now. And we'll see what they do these coming weeks. But I think they're going to start turning the page here, turn a corner. And we'll see where that takes them, whether it's going to be a wild card or just fire sale. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Padres. So the Padres are looking better-ish. Again, playing a lot below expectations. Their offense just hasn't gotten it going. No one's really firing on all cylinders over there, except for now Juan Soto was playing well after having a rough first month. So I moved the Padres up a couple spots. But yeah, again, they're still underperforming, but at least there seems to be now light at the end of the tunnel, whereas, like I said, the Mariners and Phillies, it's just not there. So move them up 2 spots. We'll see if they, again, I think in the next few weeks we'll be telling with them, but I think of all the teams I've mentioned recently, I'll put the most stock in the Padres to bounce back. So we'll see, though, but yeah, right now I have them at 17. All right, moving up 6 spots, and this is the highest they've been all year. It's the Marlins. So the Marlins are above 500, and they're decently above 500. The record's 32-28, which people could say it's skewed because you play the A's, but still, they're winning games. And like I said, the Marlins, Diamondbacks, and Pirates just seem to float around 500. They really stay competitive with these teams who are not playing well, because even if these teams come back, most likely they're going to come back to a record around 500. So if they just stay there and stay competitive, this could be a really interesting National League wildcard race. So the Marlins are playing decent. I decided to reward them. So like I said, this is a season high for them, ranked 16. But yeah, they're playing better. Their offense is clicking a little bit more, and their pitching's been decent. So we'll see. Like I know I always say we'll see what happens, but that's kind of what we do. We see what happens. But I think, again, I'm really rooting for the Pirates, Diamondbacks, and Marlins. That'd be such a cool wild card race. But we shall see. But again, I'm buying into the Marlins right now. Moving up to 16. We'll see where they end up by the All-Star break. I really hope those teams will stay around 500. All right, dropping 7 spots, and number 15 are the Mets. So the Mets just aren't playing well. I've held them up probably too high, and I think now it's time to just bring them down. They just haven't been performing. They've been underperforming, and again, just not great overall. So I do bump them down quite a bit to 15. Yeah, they just haven't gotten it going. They're not clicking, so I did drop them down. I think it's just a matter of people, again, underperforming. A lot of these big roster teams not really performing very well. So it's fun to see young teams like the Diamondbacks really showing up when teams that spend all this money aren't. But anyways, yeah, they're not performing well, so I moved them down to 15. All right, moving up 3 spots to the Pirates. The Pirates had a good week, which was awesome because I think everyone's kind of rooting for them right now. The record is now 31-27. Yeah, they're up 14. Playing good, so excited to see this, especially as someone, like I said, rooting for these kind of teams that no one really thought they would be in the race. And yeah, so I moved up to 14 just because they've been playing consistently around 500, but there haven't really been any like, wow, this team should be winning these games or whatever. They're just playing what they expect to be playing at right now, which is like a 500 level. So I moved up to 14 because they had a good week, and they're playing better than I think all these teams behind them. So hopefully the Pittsburgh Pirates can keep it going, but I think 14 is a fair spot. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Brewers, so they're at 13 now. Had a decent week, playing decent overall. They're playing a little bit better than where they had them at 15, so I'm moving up 2 spots. Yeah, their starting pitching has been a little, I think, for Brewers standards, bad. Burns' last start against Reds wasn't great. Peralta's last start wasn't great, but they still have found a way to win games, which is what good teams do. So yeah, I'm moving up 2 spots at 13, and I think the Brewers are starting to find their footing a little bit. So right now they're at 13. All right, moving up 1 spot are the Twins. So the Twins, they've been playing again mediocre. They're floating around 500, which is fine, I guess. But they won the series against Houston, which was nice. The series lost this weekend, or I guess series split was disappointing. But again, I take that with a grain of salt because you didn't have Buxton or Correa or Kirilloff, and missing like basically your 3 best hitters, or at least 2 best hitters. Correa's not really hitting well, but that can affect the team. But again, you still lost the series though, so if it wasn't for certain teams moving up more, they would have stayed at 13. But they do move up 1 spot. So yeah, Twins playing mediocre. They really need to have a good week to have a safety net, because the AL Central is really closing. If they don't have a good buffer, one bad week could mean now you're tied for first with someone else. So the Twins need to have a solid week, and this week it's the Rays and Blue Jays. So we'll see if they can make that happen. Yeah, right now the Twins are at 12. Right, the Angels move up 1 spot to 11, which is now a season high for them. This is the highest they've been on the board. And yeah, they're playing well. I think they deserve to be above the teams they're above. And I'm excited because finally, like, they're playing. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to jinx them, but like the last couple of years, they've been starting off good. People thought they were going to make the playoffs, and they fall apart. So let's hope that doesn't happen, because they are playing well. They're at 11 now. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not even going to jinx them. They're playing well. They're at 11. That's where I'm going to keep them. All right, dropping 1 spot are the Red Sox. The Red Sox still playing well. They're in the top 10, but they're not playing, I guess, as well as when they were at the 8 spot. But still, 10's a respectable spot to be. They're a team that people weren't expecting them to be here, but they are. So they're playing well, and Chris Sale is out though, so that could hurt them. But I don't know. We'll see what this will be a good test to see how they bounce back from that news. But yeah, right now they're at 10 still a decent spot, and that's where I'm gonna keep them for now. But we'll see how they respond to this injury. All right, moving up 1 spot are the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are playing actually really well right now. I think some Blue Jays fans might want them to be higher on the board, but oh well. They are playing really well though in the last couple weeks, so we'll see if they can keep that going. But yeah, just the teams up here, I think they're just playing a little bit better. So, but the Blue Jays, I'm not worried about them. They look really good right now, so I think in the coming weeks we can see what happens between them and the Yankees. But I think the Yankees still have like a few games on them. And I'm talking wild card, because I don't think they're going to catch the Rays unless the Rays really have a couple weeks. So. But the Blue Jays now, after having a couple rough weeks, are looking good again. So we'll see if they can keep that going. I think if they have a solid month, that could really help them. But yeah, right now, they're at 9. Right, moving up 3 spots and putting them in the top row for the first time are the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks look good. They're tied in the National League for the best record, I believe, with the Dodgers. And they're just playing really well. And again, this is a really fun team because they're playing with a lot of young talent. No super signings they had, like the Padres or some other teams. So. And it's really cool as a fan of like the little guy, I guess, like the Pirates and the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. So we'll see. Like I said, the National League wild card could be really fun. But yeah, right now they're at 8 because they're playing so well, and I really hope this continues. All right, same spot as last week are the Houston Astros. Houston's looking good. Like I said a few weeks ago when they were still climbing back, I said they're back, and they are back. They're playing really well. They lost that series against Minnesota, but they bounced back real quick after that, and that's what good teams do. So right now they're at 7, and they could keep climbing. They are looking really good. They're looking like a threat again. So we'll see if they can catch the Rangers. But again, the Rangers are playing also lights out, so we'll see. But yeah, right now the Astros are at 7, and again, they're just playing really good baseball. So if you're worried about them when they have that slow start, I wouldn't be worried anymore. All right, dropping 3 spots are the Dodgers. So the Dodgers had a decent week, but not a great week. And also, I noticed I was preparing for this video, their record while playing 500 teams, I believe, is at or below 500, which isn't the best stats because you want to have a good record against teams above 500. And so it tells me they've had kind of an easier schedule almost, and they lost series against the Yankees. So yeah, move them down a couple spots because I don't think they've been playing as high as they were ranked, which is the 3 spot. So move them down to 6. We'll see if they have a bounce back week here, but I don't know. 6 might be a fair spot for them. I don't think they're as dominant of a team as they have been. All right, same spot are the Braves. So the Braves had a rough start to the week, and they saved their week kind of in Arizona. But yeah, they're not playing particularly great, but I do keep them at 5. I think they're going to get things going now. I don't know if that means they're going to jump up higher back to where they were, which is like the 2 or 3 spot, but they are playing good now. So the Braves stay at 5 after kind of an interesting week, but overall I think they're still playing pretty well. So I'm going to keep them at 5 for now, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks, but I think this is a fair spot for them. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Yankees. The Yankees are looking a lot better now. I think a few weeks ago they were at the 9 spot, and now they're up at 4. So the Yankees are looking good. They're firing all cylinders kind of now. We'll see how they handle with Donaldson and everyone coming back. But they did DFA Hicks. So yeah, their pitching's been good, so I think the Yankees fans can kind of relax. I know they're always kind of whining about something, but I think now your team has finally found its footing. And they're playing really good the last month almost. They've been playing really well. So the Yankees are at 4 now, but they could continue to climb. But again, top 4 is a really good spot. It's hard to keep climbing, but again, they are playing that good. So we'll see. But yeah, right now they're at 4. All right, dropping one spot are the Orioles. So the Orioles still playing decent. Some teams are playing better. So I was considering dropping them, even down like 4 or 5. But I guess I'm giving them another week to see if they can get it back. I mean, they didn't have a bad week at all, but again, not a good enough week. Not even a good enough last couple weeks to justify being second in the power ranking. So moving down to 3, we'll see if they have a good bounce back week in terms of, I guess, like I said, playing the standards of a two seed on the power rankings. But again, they're still playing good. The record's still fantastic, 37-22, 15 games over 500. That's a great record. So we'll see where they end up in the next couple of weeks, but right now they're at 3, and I think that's a fair spot just based on how they've been playing the last couple of weeks. All right, moving up 2 spots are the Rangers. This is the high for them, and yeah, they're number 2. They were playing that good. I was actually considering putting them 1, just because their offense is that good. But again, the record's 38-20, which is really good. I think the Rays still have 4 games of them though. I just didn't want to make that jump. I felt like a little abrupt if I would have made that decision. So I keep them at 2, but I was this close to putting them at 1 because their offense is just so, like I said, like so good. So we'll see if they can edge their way into number 1 soon. It should be exciting to keep your eye on. But yeah, right now they're at 2. The Rangers, again, looking really scary. So I move them up to 2, and we'll see where they end up next week. All right, 1 spot, still the Rays. So the Rays are playing better. They had that kind of weird week 3 weeks ago, or I think it was, where they kind of had an off week, but since then they've been playing better again. We'll see how this week goes. I'm excited to see my Twins play them and see if that wakes them up a little bit, gets the bats going. If not, the Rays will just roll over the Twins, or steamroll the Twins, I should say. Just completely wipe them out. But yeah, the Rays are playing great. The record's now 42-19, I believe, so that's a stellar record. But yeah, looking scary still. The gap's kind of closing on their buffer. Like, I think at one point they're up by like 9 or 10 games. I don't think it's that big of a margin now between the Yankees and the Orioles. But we shall see what happens in the future. This is Week 9 power rankings. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I work overnights, and it's 10 a.m. and the fire alarm went off, so I didn't get a lot of sleep. So I'm kind of a zombie today. But this is Week 9 power rankings. Let me know what I got right, what I got wrong. If you like this kind of way I did it this week, where I didn't really talk about their weekly stats, if you want me to go back to that, I certainly can. I'm just trying something new here. And let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next week.